Salve, and welcome to an interview with, this time behind the mask of Estella, the wandering artist.
That's me.
That is you. This is Holly. Holly, introduce yourself to everyone.
Hello. My name's Holly G, otherwise Holly the Small on YouTube, and I play Estella, the wandering artist, or Estella No, I'm getting it wrong. Like, gosh.
I said you say it, so I didn't say it to mess it up.
Oh well, it's already gone down the tank.
I know, right?
We're good. Bye now. it's already gone.
It's fine. I'll just I'll interview this little trinket that you bought. I don't know if the camera can see it quite clearly enough, but that is one amazing mask.
Yeah, there's a story behind that, which we'll definitely go into. I mean, it's superb. Thanks, Mike. You're a treasure.
I guess the first thing was, well, to ask is kind of like, how did you get into LARP?
Well, started in tabletop first and foremost. It was a very special time in my life when I first started role playing properly. Before that, it was text role plays over the internet with and those were the dark days over DeviantArt. Oh, it was bad, But it still had the improvisational spirit that LARP and tabletop has. So D&D was a natural progression.
Yeah.
I had my absolute roleplay golden years was playing Dungeons and Dragons on a Saturday with my group while I was attending college throughout the week in rugby. Hey, rugby group. And yeah. Then I went to uni, carried on with tabletop, met a lot of, fellow nerds through that.
Yeah. So
it was about time that, somebody within that friendship group was going to be a LARPer.
Yeah.
Naturally. Because, this whole society's...
You always find it is the offshoot of at least one person that, will find the hobby and then kind of bring you in necessarily. Yeah.
There wasn't a LARPing society at Portsmouth.
Okay.
But there was a tabletop society.
Yeah.
And it's through that tabletop society that I met many of my lovely friends. And one of them happened to be going to Empire.
Okay.
I wasn't really in the best headspace mentally. University was not going as particularly as desired.
Yeah.
2014 was particularly terrible. And 2015 wasn't really much better.
Yeah.
I'm an animator and illustrator by trade, but while I was studying, I had gone to this contest, this really big visual effects contest. Absolute disaster.
Okay.
Not great for me.
Is there any reason particular that...
Well, it was let me put it into context. It was so bad that one of the tutors overseeing the contest... just after I had gotten out from having a good old cry about how horrible it got, re-entered the pub where everybody was hanging out with, and he asked, what's wrong? And I was like, I did terribly, I did really bad for my team, and I don't think it was good. Well, not everybody was made for this industry.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why that would bring you down, Yeah,
that was my summer, going into my third year.
Okay, so great time for that, yeah.
No, perfect time, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't really in the best of places when LARP came into my life.
Yeah.
And one of my friends suggested me having a go. Actually, I asked about it. I was like, well, it's one of those things, I can at least try and never think about it again, because, I'm not really going to be into it.
Yeah.
It's just, D&D is one thing. LARP is just whoo, it's so out there. I'll probably give it a try once and not do it again.
Yeah, I think it was the same for me. It's just a friend was come along. And you're just all right, hitting each other in a field. All right, mate, cool.
Yeah, who does that?
God, we all do now.
Well, I don't technically. I'm a non-com.
You are? Oh, yeah.
I'll leave it to you.
All right, I'll go hit things. It's cool.
Yeah. You're getting floor kicked, in your monster gear, and I'm just chilling out in a room and sipping a tea.
How fair the world is. Lovely. So you'd met through uni and things like that, and your friend had brought you to Empire.
I brought myself to Empire.
You brought yourself to Empire,
yeah,
okay.
I believe I was dropped off by my folks.
Okay.
And, you see, because here's what I thought it was going to be like.
Okay.
I thought combat was mandatory. I thought that it was going to be you know, a bit more of a guided experience.
Okay.
Just like D&D.
Mm.
And so I was prepared to just like have somebody handhold me through the whole experience, like you know, like a mystery dinner or something like that. I wasn't really expecting anything because I was so distracted by my studies and the miserable time I was having.
Yeah.
I was more focused on that, and I read most of the wiki. It was one in one ear and out the other.
Yeah, as it can be for some people.
Yeah, I couldn't retain a thing.
Yeah.
Which will lead nicely onto the video stuff, actually.
Okay.
Like, as wonderful as the wiki is, it's just that I couldn't hold on to the information I was reading.
Yeah. That's kind of, I found it's, certain people learn different ways. I'm one of those people that I have to experience something or see it visually happening, or kind of like audiobooks.
Yeah, you're like me, you're a deep end diver.
Yeah, so that's how I retain information. You know, being heavily dyslexic, it's kind of very difficult for me to look at a piece of text and go, yes, and it's stick in my brain. So I get completely...
We're not all Jasons.
No, so I can completely get where you're coming from. Yeah, so... Yeah, carry on.
So, I went in, and you want to know the reason why I chose League?
Yes, yeah, but...
The reason why I chose League is because I had a shirt that I had bought like several years ago prior on a family holiday to Whitby that looked vaguely like it could fit well in the League brief.
Okay.
And that was the only reason.
So Whitley, the League, same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's like
fair enough.
Goth aesthetic, like Renaissance, like Europe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
that works. So talking about the League, so that was kind of like one of the reasons you went. Your group. So obviously we, you know, in the Orcs have banners, and we were talking about this before, but the word has completely left my brain of what it was called. What's your version of a banner?
it's a Carta.
A Carta.
Yes.
Okay, so how did you find your Carta then?
Oh, I didn't find my Carta until years later.
Okay.
I wandered around like alone for a good two, maybe like 3 years possibly.
Okay.
Oh, like 2.5 at the very least. I didn't have a Carta. I just rolled around by myself, and that's pretty much what my first experience was like.
Okay.
Was rolling around by myself, because although I knew the one person, they were, now stop me if you heard this one, always on the go, always being called over by somebody to do something, and having to run halfway across the field in order to attend to something.
About 5 of those people.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them, but yeah, I know 5 of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was unfortunately one of them.
Okay.
Very popular, very beloved, and it was hard not to see why.
Okay.
But that left the problem for me in that about 70% of my first event was spent on my lonesome.
Okay.
With just kind of like bimbling my way around, sitting one place, maybe having like a sort of like a semi-chat with somebody, like maybe occasionally talking to somebody, but most of it was spent on my lonesome, people watching.
Okay.
And eventually it got to a point where I wasn't having a good time. I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
None of the information was going in because, like, you know, when you hit the field for the first time and all of this, like, you're being assaulted by all of this new information and terminology you've never heard before.
Yep.
And people asking you questions about, like, stuff in the Winds of War or the Winds of Fortune.
It's a bit much, especially your first time round. You're just like, yes. First time to Anvil.
Yeah.
Yes. And you can kind of use that maybe the second time you go as well, if you're still not sure. But I mean, I don't know how you've done that, to be honest. And this is, you know, speaking from personal things, like, to be solo for that long, I don't think I would have enjoyed it.
No, I wouldn't recommend it, honestly.
I think
my situation was very unique.
Yeah.
And in my first event, halfway through, I found myself in God, talking to the people there, going, listen, I I'm not having a good time. I don't know what I'm doing. I think maybe choosing the league was a mistake. I don't know. I just don't know what to do. I've got nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
And experience this with. They were like, all right, well, have a think on maybe a new character that you can try in a different nation.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all right, this is perfectly normal.
Yeah.
Maybe have a break and come back to it later.
Yeah.
So I went that. I needed to take some antidepressants anyway. It was about that time.
Yeah.
And so I sat in my tent, had a bit of a cry to myself, and I just thought, okay, I need to make the most of this while I'm here, because it's only halfway over. Yeah. And like, I might as well enjoy it while I'm here, and then I can go home and never think about it again. A little bit of faking it till I made it. There was this moment where somebody, where it was late at night. We went into a tent. And somebody was wearing a mask, pretending to be a dead person. It's called guising. I will explain that in
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, league culture's mental.
Okay.
But like, it's like one of them turned to me and said, "Oh, do you know what guising is?" Like, honey, I know what guising is. Like, I'm from the league. There's like, I see a guising every other week, honey.
This is not new to me.
I had no idea what the sod was going on.
There you go, fake it till you make it, right? Yeah.
Oh, gosh. And, you know what cinched it for me?
What's that?
So this new player that I got in chummy with, this loyalty priest,
yeah,
they and the rest of the group went off fighting in a battle. And he asked me to hold his glasses while he was gone.
That's nice.
Oh, it gets better.
Okay.
So, this was really the moment that cinched it for me. This was no longer was I just somebody who was completely out of like the experience and just wandering around wondering what on earth I'm doing. This was a transition from that to being in the moment, LARPing, role playing, being a part of a bigger story. Yeah. Like, Estella was happening. It was happening.
She was to an extent real.
Oh,
like,
yes.
And I know that sounds weird, like in a kind of idea of a make-believe world, but suddenly the character had substance, there was a reason, and you kind of found your feet as such.
Absolutely.
And then it became something, a character of tangibility.
Absolutely. So what happened was that they went out into the battle, and I saw Wintermark and Navarre and like all of those nations return. Yeah. I kept an eye out for them. Dawn came back. I didn't see him.
Okay.
Right. And then...
Is this a sad story?
Oh.
Oh, yeah, okay. I feel it's a sad story.
2 orcs wander in. I'm not sure who they were at the time. Okay. But they come in with a bloodied red and yellow priest tabard, and they're talking about somebody who's died. I mean, again, the line between reality and fiction is absolutely blurred. Yeah. Because I'm just like, oh my god, they're dead, they're dead, they're dead, they're dead. And then I go running back to the Dawn, because out of character I'm going to have to return these glasses anyway, if he's, like over a god, like filling in papers.
I don't care about the characters, I don't want to hold these glasses anymore.
Like, no, but I was having a panic. Yeah. Because this story was like turning out really, really sad. I get to the Dawn camp, and he's there. Okay. Standing there, and like clothes muscled up, like holding a sword and shield, looking around, and I go, "How's your? Oh my God, you're alive!" And I run up to him, and it's like, "Oh hell, Joe Dust, it's like so glad you're okay."
All right, so it's not a bad story then.
No, it's not a bad story.
Oh, okay.
All right, but like either way,
alive.
It would have been so incredibly immersive.
Yeah.
It would have been a bit of a downer, but I liked that happy ending.
But yeah, okay. Yeah. So that's what kind of suddenly made it more real for you then?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's kind of you finding it. So how did you find your group?
How did I find my group?
I forgot what the word was again.
Carta.
I will get this.
Yeah. Trial and error.
Okay.
Like, I spent at least a good 2 years just wandering around, doing my own thing. Yeah. I made it into a thing. The whole reason why I have the name Wandering Artist is because like the first group of people I talked to on my first event, they were asking about who I was. I had prepared like a massive sketchbook of like fantasy sort of drawings. Like there's like a phoenix and a Pegasus in there.
Okay.
And there's lots of studies of horses because I knew horses were a thing and simultaneously not a thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that it's like, oh, it's a study of a statue of a horse because like they're not really, they're not around anymore. Are they?
They're gone.
Yeah, they're gone. They're gone. So. And I was going to use it as like a talking piece, and it worked because a lot of people really enjoyed it. Because I specifically stuck to kind of fantasy-esque drawings, and it was gorgeous. It had a twig tied to like the bindings, and like it was the front cover was just old leaves that had been like scale arranged on top of one another, and you opened it up, and this lovely brown paper that had obviously been made out of like miscellaneous plant matter and on the pages were like really semi-realistic studies of these mythical creatures. Like there was a Yale in there.
Yeah.
Not the Yale, a Yale.
A Yale. Okay.
A Yale, as in like a leopard skin goat with fangs and right? Yales, right? Everybody does, right? Everybody knows Yales.
So I guess you being an actual artist really helped a little bit there.
It certainly did.
Because if it was me, it would just be a load of like stick animals, like you go, look at my pretty pictures, and not really getting many people's attention. But anyway.
You see, that's the thing with LARP. Like,
there's only so much you can make believe.
Yes, exactly.
Come on, if I've got a stick man, no one's going to imagine it's
It's like.
It's a beautiful piece of art.
Unless you're deliberately going for a character who believes their own hype.
Yeah, maybe.
Come on.
Next idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next character.
Yeah. So I used the sketchbook as a talking point to chat with the Butcher's Bank lot.
Okay.
And just pulled right out of my arse. I said, "Oh, I'm a wandering artist," and then history was made. Like Estella, the wandering artist.
Okay.
The long-winded name that she actually has came later.
Okay. I like the wandering artist. I think that's kind of got a good little vibe to it.
I mean, it was accurate because that's what I did half the time.
So I think what was it? Was it E3 of last year or E4? Like, I think it was the first time I'd met you in character.
Yeah.
Because I'd come over, and you guys were just so hospitable. Like, I won't go into like the conversation because that's like IC stuff. But you guys were just really hospitable. And I remember just coming over and it's like wine, water, this and the other. And I was like, yes.
Was the butler in there?
I can't. All I remember is just being kind of like, not like overly shocked, but the amount of rings and how fancy you guys looked, and I was there just like, there's a lot of bling. Wow. Yeah. So that was a thing, but you guys seem to like meld, work very well, like just from the very small role play that I saw between everyone. And don't get me wrong, I don't know them in character properly, nor do I know them out of character.
Well, let's hope we can change that in the future.
Yeah, but it's that thing of like everyone seemed really cool and everyone got on very well. Is that so? Like, is your group a really strong group within the league? Because obviously I don't know how the league work. Okay.
Maybe I'll ruffle some feathers by saying this, but we absolutely are.
Okay.
Like, we are a thing.
Feathers have been ruffled.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
The Withering Gaze.
Okay.
What we do, we are the Reckoners cartel. Now, the Reckoners, they form a very specific, very essential function in League Society. Mm-hmm. Now, League Society, everything is like a grand performance and a game. Yeah. And there's certain rules, social rules to that game. You define your own sort of like idea of success, and that's more often than not crosses over with someone else's idea of success. So you are naturally competitors. Yeah. It's not always as.
That's the wind.
Yeah, that might be the wind. Storm Katie, don't come back again. Oh.
It's fine. I wasn't there for that one.
Oh, I was. I got hypothermia. Oh.
Wrap up warm.
Oh yeah, no, I was pathetically underprepared.
I think everyone was. Don't worry about it.
It was so bad. I was woefully unprepared for that one. It's a shivering mess wrapped around.
Well, I'm gonna like go quickly close the door. Well, close the door properly so we don't keep getting slamming. Oh. Right, well that's that door closed, and hopefully we don't get any more slamming. So yeah, we were on to
League Society.
League Society, yeah.
So everybody's in competition with each other, but it's not like, you know, like, well, to be honest, I was going to say it's not, you know, like out and out sort of like, you know, like stabbing each other in the middle of the street, but that's what like the Bravos do, isn't it?
It's a very weird society.
Oh, massively so.
Yeah.
It's like there's a whole bunch of like subconscious rules to League Society. If there's a big party going on, don't like turn up without an invite. It's kind of like, you know, at the door of the orc camp, if you don't have somebody with you and you're not armed, then like,
yeah,
it's a bit like that.
Yeah, I get what you get. It's kind of more the unwritten rules. The
unwritten rules, exactly. Yeah. And another one of those like unwritten rules, and rather a big one, is that like if you're resorting to assassination, you're not playing the game right.
Okay.
It's like, I mean, obviously you want people to be around and, you know, like be miserable, and as you coast off of your success, if there's no witnesses around, then what's the fun in that?
Yeah, no one gets to see your hard work that you put into doing it.
Yeah.
Come on, everything's a show. Jesus.
Exactly. Everything is a public display.
Yeah.
And, but that's why debts are so important. Like, there's this entire thing of every leaguer has like a notebook on them, and it's a record of all the debts owed. It's not quite as extreme as the contracts in Brass Coast.
Yeah.
But you need to know who owes you what and what you owe to other people, because it's kind of it's our way of keeping score.
Oh, okay, I get you.
Yeah.
So it's not actually necessarily like money, you know,
it is.
Monetary value. It's more.
It's both.
Who's got one up on the other person?
It's both.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, because like if somebody owes you a favour, not only is it a massive opportunity to kind of like fan your, you know, like tail feathers, you know, like I did this thing for somebody and they owe me big time.
Yeah.
The other thing is that like you can cash in that favour somewhere down the line, something as simple as money, or something as big as an important as you know, like maybe voting for you.
See, I think that's one of the great things, and I don't know if it's just the way I play my character, but I don't tend to, especially in the beginning, like I never did anything for money. I did it for favours, because I always found that much better roleplay. Like if you get paid some coin, that's it. It's over and done with relatively quickly.
Yeah.
But if you get paid in a favour,
yeah,
then somewhere down the line you got that juicy roleplay.
I mean, it's so impersonal, just like.
Yeah, it's that thing of where, you know, you can create really cool little storylines with things like that.
So it's nice though.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not in the 1% club.
I'm not either. No.
What is it? 15 ring pie?
I mean, leave that to Fal, right?
Yeah. That man is balling. But I mean, yeah, I always found that was the best way. So I guess in the league, like with it being that way, that must be pretty cool. Like just the role play aspect
absolutely.
of it. To just be like, oh yeah, do you remember that favour?
Yeah. You know,
well, it's time to call it in now.
You think you could help me out? So reckoners, they come in when a debt is due, and they ain't paying up.
Oh right.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes together now, doesn't it?
You're the debt collectors.
Yes. But we're fun debt collectors.
We're the type of debt collectors that play Scrabble with you until you pay us the money.
No.
No, okay.
We're a massive stonking winter coven, that's what we are.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I can see where this is going.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
We essentially our reputation has grown as such that we get clientele outside of the league on a regular basis.
Oh, okay.
And it's not just for small petty jobs either. We're like we are asked to return the debts of, you know, like generals, and like I think we got a call from an internal once. We don't mess around. We've got a reputation.
I don't think it's Fal that's balling. I think it's you lot. Jesus, all right.
I mean, I don't want to say nothing.
Okay, so what type of things then? If you, I mean, I don't know if you can like say what you can do. Like,
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
And this is without giving away too much because this is a pretty famous example that we give out.
Okay.
But there was one person who I believe had pissed off a herald or an eternal.
Okay.
And essentially, I don't think they gave any specific descriptors other than make them like suffer.
All right.
So what happened is that I believe this person had upset them and embarrassed them and humiliated them, and they wanted that. He wanted a similar level of humiliation paid, like in return.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we do a lot of arcane projections.
And for people that may not know what an arcane projection is.
Essentially, you have an idea for a curse. Set it through the magical letterbox, and we'll see if that can be a thing.
There you go. That's okay. That makes sense. All right.
And I believe there's a degree of mana.
Okay.
You see, because funnily enough, I don't really have much stance in the magic game. I'm a ritualist as well, but I'm there to kind of like increase the numbers.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Claire and Niall.
Are you a Barry?
Yeah, I'm a what?
A battery.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm a absolutely stonking gorgeous battery, but
Well,
I am a battery.
Yeah. It's fine. I'm a battery too. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Just use for what little power I have.
No, I help in other ways.
Okay.
So what Claire and Niall and the rest of the ritualists came up with is a curse where, while they're awake, every little crack and crease on their armour, like everything they see, like the joints in the camera there, like the folds in your clothes, like the gaps in your hair, centipedes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Now they're
How are you the fun ones?
I know.
How is that fun?
It's just winter magic, you know. It's just business. Like, but they were hallucinatory centipedes. Yeah.
Mate, that's dark.
Yeah. And what was even darker is that when they went to bed at night, they had nightmares of being eaten alive by centipedes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Choose your poison. Awake or
So, top tip.
sleep.
Don't go anywhere near Holly.
No, I'm the. Everybody likes me. It's my job to be liked.
Wow,
I'm the pretty little face.
That's some dark stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't my idea.
No, I mean it's ingenious.
Yeah.
But ooh.
Oofa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it also had a game effect as well.
Yeah.
I think it affected their military unit in some way. I couldn't remember exactly why.
Well, it's going to drive you insane seeing that type of stuff.
Yeah, it's good. I'd be absolutely bonkers.
Right. Okay. Well, not the fun type.
Yeah.
But,
So winter curses.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where does your group fit in within your nation then? Because obviously, the people we've had on before and things like that, they've been orcs, and kind of within the orcs, there's certain things there's placements for people as such. So where would you say within your nation, you guys sit? Like, you're known for doing certain things, or is there a kind of a hierarchy? Because obviously I don't know the league, so this is... Right,
so in the case of the Withering Gaze, our thing, first and foremost, is the reckoning side of things.
Yeah.
But overall, we're just like problem solvers.
Okay.
Like when that whole sort of like shattering of the Savos and Holberg mirrors happened, we were like at the forefront of because we offered ourselves as sort of like reckoners on behalf of the nation.
Okay.
Not everybody was keen on that idea for like obvious reasons. It was very controversial, but we still offered ourselves. So, pardon me.
That's right.
We are also problem solvers. So, if there's the egregores are walking around and there's a problem concerning the nation that needs solving, we offer ourselves, or we pick it up and offer it to somebody else.
Okay.
And I think that's what makes our group so wonderful, is that like we don't just like take on opportunities like a giant sort of like, you know, Leviathan whale and scoop them up all for ourselves.
Yeah.
What makes our group work so well is that we distribute it not just amongst our like opportunities, not just amongst ourselves, but out to others. Like, hey, do you want to like this juicy bit of plot? Do you want the plot? Do you want the plot? Go at the plot.
You can have fun now. Come on. Oh, I remember when they just started. Fair enough. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess that's kind of like a really nice thing.
Yeah, but that's the kind of atmosphere that our group, and particularly Claire and Niall, who are sort of like the heads of the Withering Gaze, they're the two founders. That's the kind of atmosphere they invite. One that's welcome, one that's open, and we all have our say, and we all have our own roles, and we are both cooperative but highly independent individuals. Okay. And I think that's what makes our group work so well, is that everybody has a say, everybody has their personal agenda, and we're allowed to go off and explore that agenda without them saying, hey, we need you for something, you've got to be here right then. They say, do you want to be here for that thing? Yeah. And we can say yes or no. And like, this thing needs doing, who wants to sort of like take responsibility for that? And somebody can say, that sounds really interesting, it's not something I've tried before, I can take control of it.
I think it's, you know, we had obviously, like, we had a chat yesterday about stuff. And in regards of, and we won't name names or anything like that. But, you know, other groups, not necessarily in the league, but being very kind of like, you must do this, you must do this. You give me this, give me the money, I'm going to do this and that. And we'd both, you know, we'd said that to us it didn't seem like the best way to do it. However, that's people's games and they're free to play it whichever they want.
Some people like being told what to do.
Yeah.
And that's not like a judgmental thing. No. That's just like, you know, that's somebody's comfort zone and their strength. Yeah. Like, somebody like throws a project in front of them and they will do it.
Yeah, I just think that to me, like your Cartas. I will get there. Your Carta, it just sounds really nice. Like the ability to be able to do what you need to do and have an option. It sounds very freeing. It is. So it must be really nice to be a part of that group.
Yeah. It works on a conceptual level as well, because we present ourselves as like, you know, cheeky shysters. Who, like,
I did get
raised on the Holberg streets.
I did get that vibe.
Yeah, which was it was just perfect for Estella.
Yeah.
Because she's always been like this travelling sort of like personality, who is kind of, you know, like slept wherever she can and taken any opportunity that she can. So she slid right in to the family. Yeah. No issue. Like it was almost like made for her, like down to the aesthetic detail. Holberg, eye motif, it was all there.
Yeah, I can feel that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna most probably wrap it up for part 1. But we will have part 2 and maybe part 3. You never know. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this one. So we will see you in the next video.
Bye. Hello and welcome to the Orcs Planet. Nice one, Andy.